How did you make your organization grow at the time?
The way that you generally, it's you don't really have to approach, young men because many of them are just trying to get in anyway because it's a organization of influence. So you have to when you see a candidate, basically you would go and approach him basically and ask him what did he believe in basically, and which the answer would be God. But they don't at the time they don't understand exactly what God you're talking about. So you're looking for a person that's basically looking for that believes in some type of spiritual deity.
And tell everybody about the transition from masonry to the Shrinership. Because we don't have a lot of time. Just be real quick. I want that. I'm talking about that you gave a word, that experience that you had, that rush that they concocted. When you went from Mason to Shriner.
Well, it wasn't exactly going from Mason to Shriners. It's just that when you go through an initiations, just like when you're coming to be a master mason, basically, you go through some oaths and you go through a ritual of initiations, and the way that they lay everything out, you would see, in other words, you blindfold, and then you would see, you would be marched around, beaten, and things of that nature, and then once they take the blindfold off, you've been blindfolded for a few hours, and once you take the blindfold off, you right in front of a Bible and some candles. And so once, if you've been blindfolded for a while, when light all of a sudden rushes in, it literally gives you a euphoria. It literally gives you an effect that, it's almost like a real, I'm trying to find a word to use, a spectacular thing that happened. In other words, it don't even seem real. It just, all of a sudden there is light. So in other words, that's one of the names, that's one of the terminology that Mason used, say, I'm a man of the light, So then going from a Mason to a Shriner, in Masonry, basically, it was mainly looking toward in the Bible, but in Shriners, you go to the Quran. And then that's when I really
Let's get this straight. You were told, am I correct? I want to make sure about this. You were told, okay, you don't need the Bible no more. Now they instead of shining the light on the Bible, now they're shining the light on the Quran. And were you told that this was the way now?
Well, what I was told basically was that, you're making an elevation. In other words, it's almost like the Quran now is bringing forth the true knowledge above the Bible. Even though, you learn the Bible in reference to Masonry, but when you get into the Shrinership, everything is going to like Islam. Islam or Egyptian, everything is going toward that area.
Okay, who is Baphomet?
Baphomet is a deity that it's a deity, a symbol of a goat with horns, with a goat head but with a human body. And it also has male and female parts. It have female breasts and then male organs and genitalia. But the thing is this right here, what it represents a deity that most Masons don't even understand that they're worshiping. Don't even know, don't have the slightest idea.
Would you say this was like an altar of an unknown God?
Yes, this would be an example of an altar of an unknown God, because most Masons, when they join the Mason, it starts out to be like a benevolent or brotherly organization. But once you get into the upper degrees, then you find out the spiritual ramifications of it. Because now is no more just, more or less being influenced. Now you really begin to study and looking at different symbols and what represent, what you're doing. And then that's when you find out that the God in which I thought basically was the God of the Bible, I found out it wasn't the same God that's the Father of Jesus. Because up in the upper degrees, then you find out that basically they were trying to woo all knowledge or all wisdom, which is the Buddhism, Hinduism, Rosicrucian, whatever. So they find, in other words, it was almost like a Molly cocktail of wisdom, where it say there's truth in all things, and the God in